Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Mighty Global News Updates. It is the 11th day of November 2025. Thank you so much for being part of us. We believe you're having a good day over there, and we are sorry for coming in a little bit late due to some unavoidable circumstances. But we believe you're enjoying this fresh morning. We are coming to you live from Uganda's capital, Kampala. Just there to keep you inspired, educated, as well as keep you informed. Now we are here in this Mighty Drive, in this initial segment known as the Mighty Global News Updates, a moment where we take you through the stories that are shaping conversations within our country, Uganda, and sometimes even take you abroad to know what's happening over there. If you're watching us for the very first time, you're watching the Alternative TikTok TV, Uganda's leading online platform that is trusted for being non-partisan and giving reliable information. Feel free to tap that subscribe button, especially if you enjoy matters of national importance, because that's what we prioritize here. Information that is unbiased, that is non-partisan, information that you can rely on to make an informed decision. Now let me take you through the stories that are shaping conversations this morning, and later on I'll be leaving you to enjoy the entire Mighty Drive show, where we'll be having our special guest coming in and discussing, of course, matters that matter to all Ugandans. Now, starting with the story of the USCE examinations that were done yesterday. The senior 6 candidates started their examinations yesterday in the entire country from various schools, and over 166,402 candidates are expected to sit their final examinations at the senior 6 level, and they are now finalizing secondary life, entering into now university, if all of them happen to make it there, although there has been always hurdles here and there where we have seen a lot of students drop out after senior 6. And we do pray that they continue. Now, yesterday in various schools, we saw the process was largely successful. Most of the students were saying that the examinations were not as difficult as they expected them to be. They started with physics and later on African history, but the response or the feedback we are getting from these students is that they didn't find much of difficulty while writing their examinations, and they expect the best out of them. In most of the schools, they say examinations reached on time, and they were able to sit all those that they had. Now, that is it. Moments after the senior 4s and P7 candidates also sat theirs. Now the senior 6s are in it, sitting their final examinations, the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education. Now USCE, and we will really wish them the best wishes from the Alternative Dig Talk to you, all the candidates and the parents. We do pray that you achieve the very best. Most of the schools are expecting the best out of these candidates. they say that most of the schools have been able to teach all they are required to teach or complete the syllabus in time, much as in some of the village schools or the schools in rural areas still lag behind in terms of syllabus coverage. But most of the schools in urban areas tend to achieve even better than those in rural schools. They think that the government has been fighting so hard to make sure at least there is a balance between the rural schools and urban schools, though it still remains a challenge. Some of the schools in rural areas tend not to perform better. And we are waiting to see how this time the candidates perform. Of course, we will be here to give you all the information you need to know about the performance of these candidates. Best wishes to you. And now, moving on to our other story, we learnt about the prisons officer who has been now summoned to appear before the disciplinary committee of the prisons. This is known as Lawrence Kampe. He has been using Cop Ampe on TikTok as his username on TikTok, and he has been criticizing his bosses and even his institution, the prisons, and sometimes even the central government, saying that they are doing things unfairly, that the officers are being treated unfairly. He talked about the low salaries that these people have been receiving, and of course he said that the prisons has been quiet for so long, and this is a deliberate move to deny these people justice, the people in service. He also talked about the government in power, that it's time for all Ugandans to now choose wisely and vote in leaders who will think about all the Ugandans. Now this of course did not please his bosses. Now we received a document that was presented to us through the spokesperson of prisons, that is Frank Baine, saying that the prisons is not happy. The prisons as an institution, and they have summoned Lawrence Kampe to appear before the disciplinary committee on as what they call the misconduct of this officer, saying that the people in service, especially in prison service, are not allowed to indulge themselves in being partisan or being so much involved in politics, saying that this is not supposed to be done by these officers, and whoever does so is doing contrary to the code of conduct of the prison service. And now he is going to face the disciplinary committee. The head, the Commissioner General of Prisons, says all officers should be non-partisan, should not show sides, especially in this critical moment of the elections, saying that they are not supposed to show sides. And now they are ready to discipline Lawrence Kampe. That is the news coming in, and we will be following up this story to find out what really happen or what will happen after. All you need to do is tap the subscribe button, like this conversation, such that we can always come in here to give you more information. Now, in our other news, the presidential race, as I've been telling you, is always getting hot and hotter each passing day. Now, yesterday, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who is the presidential candidate for, as well as the flag bearer for the National Unity Platform, was in the areas of Ruchiga and Kabale, and the people of those particular areas welcomed him warmly, though he was later on disrupted by police as he was heading to Kabale. And his sound, the vehicle that was carrying his sound system, of course, the police tried to block the way and stop them from moving, trying to take away the sound system. Of course, Honorable Kyagulanyi, after learning about this, he was forced now to drive back and now call for immediate release of that vehicle and to continue his ways. The NUP has been having some difficulty here and there, clashes with the police. The police says NUP is doing this deliberately to just disrupt peace and to provoke police. However, the NUP says they are doing their level best to make sure they follow the law, but the police is being partisan and is doing everything possible to make sure they hinder their progress and their campaigns, which the NUP says they are not ready to surrender, they are not ready to give up, and they are ready to continue what they call fighting for a new Uganda and the change that the people desire. Today, the NUP, Honorable Kyagulanyi and his campaign team will be in Rwanda and Kisoro the whole of today if nothing changes. Now also, Honorable Nadala was in Adjumani. He also urged the people of Adjumani to vote the FDC. Honorable Nadala is the presidential flag bearer for the Forum for Democratic Change, and he is also asking the people to vote him into office so that he can become Uganda's next president. He told the people of Adjumani not to vote General Moses Ali, who he says is too old to do the required duties or to fulfill the duties of a member of parliament. Nathan Nadala says leaders like Moses Ali will not contribute anything towards the development of their area, that they should not waste their vote voting Moses Ali back into office. He promised to better the economy of the country in his slogan of money in the pockets. That is it. And today, the FDC and Honorable Nathan Nadala is expected to be in Omoyo and Bongi areas today, this very day, if their program does not change in any way. President Museveni was also in Bugisu, of course, asking the people of those particular areas to make sure they vote the NRM government and they protect the gains. The NRM says they have achieved a lot, and now it is time for the Ugandans to realize all the good things they have been able to achieve because of the NRM government, and now vote the NRM government back into office, saying that if they vote the NRM government, all their gains will be protected. Of course, this comes with a criticism from the opposition and from some political commentators who say that there are no gains to protect the corruption is high, but the NRM government says they have achieved a lot, and now they are moving towards the middle income status of the country Uganda, where Uganda will be among those countries that are at least performing fairly economically. The president says the economy of the country is growing at a very high rate, and now for that economy to keep that steadfast growth, they should retain the NRM government and protect those gains achieved so far. That is the presidential race for you. The decision will be left to you and I, all the Ugandans, now to decide who should be Uganda's next president, a decision that cannot be made by any other individual but you on that ballot paper. If that time comes, and we do urge you to all turn out in large numbers and vote who you think will be Uganda's best leader. Now, in our international news, Ukraine and Russia is also becoming another challenge. The war is continuing, much as there has been a lot of efforts from the international communities to stop this war. Many people calling for a ceasefire, but this seems not to be happening at all. The President of the United States, Donald John Trump, said they have been trying to make sure Russia surrenders and now agrees to a ceasefire, and that this war ends in Ukraine, where a lot of people a lot of people have died, and the international community is trying to make sure Russia stops this war, but Russia still seems unchanged. Now recently, Russia attacked the Ukrainian energy infrastructure, conducted airstrikes on over 25 locations, leaving very many people injured and others dead. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine says the only solution for this is putting too much pressure on the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, saying that if the international community puts much pressure on Russia, this war could end just in days. Zelensky insists that there hasn't been enough pressure on President Vladimir Putin, that if the pressure increases on President Vladimir Putin, he will be forced to now agree to a ceasefire because he will be having no money to fund this war. Now they say that Russia is using all the money that it gets from oil to now fund the war. And now Ukraine suggests that if sanctions are put on Russian oil and no European country, even other countries continue to buy oil from Russia, Russia will be affected economically, and it will be in a very worse condition that they cannot sustain a war, and now they will agree to a ceasefire. The attempts to sanction Russia have been there already. Sanctions are in place, but Russia seems to not be affected much, and the war seems to be continuing as many people continue to lose their lives. The oil in Russia is still considered the cheapest in Europe, and most of the countries rush for this oil, which enables Russia to continue conducting or continue being okay in terms of economics. The economy is still growing much as there has been a lot of sanctions. Now they insist that there should be more sanctions on oil in Russia. Russia should be sanctioned, and no European country, even any other country should be allowed to buy oil from Russia. That is it. The war in Ukraine continues to claim lives, and we also continue to pray for the people there to agree to the ceasefire and this bloodshed ends. That is it for the mighty global news updates. I believe you have enjoyed this, and we are always here Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'll be leaving you for now the entire Mighty Drive show, where we'll be having our special guest. He will be joining in here soon. But for now, I will now take you to what happened on a day like this in history. Kenneth Rubatsimbira is my name. I'll meet next time.
Was consumed by darkness, a horrific war that swallowed nations world. Millions died in the mud of the trenches, but one moment in history changed everything. A single hour on a single day. In the misty pre-dawn quiet of November 11th, 1918, a German delegation met their enemies in a lonely railway carriage in the forest of Compiègne, France. Their mission was simple: end the killing. Inside that carriage, they signed the armistice agreement, a formal ceasefire. It wasn't peace yet, but it was a promise to silence the guns. They set a precise time for this silence to begin, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month at 11 a.m. Across the Western Front, soldiers on both sides watched their clocks. The order had come: stop fighting at 11 a.m. Yet in those final minutes, the battles raged on. Men still fell, tragically close to peace. And then, at exactly 11 a.m., the unthinkable happened. The massive roaring noise of the world's greatest conflict simply stopped. A profound, eerie silence fell over the broken earth. The war that was meant to end all wars had reached a pause. Soldiers on all sides slowly emerged from their shelters, not cheering, but in stunned relief. The day became known as Armistice Day, now Veterans Day or Remembrance Day. This day continues to remain a powerful reminder of the devastating consequences of war and the importance of striving for peace. Kenneth Rubatsimbira, Dig Talk TV.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
That's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
Go to the church, Lou.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, Lukoda. Do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Good morning, it is a Tuesday and I welcome you to the Mighty Drive. We happen to be here every day, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I welcome you to the show. It is the Mighty Drive. And in the studios I am with Mr. Mukasera Arnold Anthony. We are going to be weighing on the situation that is happening in Uganda, the extrajudicial abductions, the killings that are happening all over Africa. And then we will make a very, very analytical conclusion on what needs to be done and what needs not to be done. A very good morning. I am Farida Bikobere and I will welcome Mr. Mukasera Arnold Anthony. But before I welcome you, I want to first cross Luganda before he tells me he doesn't want to have this conversation in English. Anyways, mwasuze mutia mwasibye mutio kusinzira je muli mukutolabira mu studios intuddemu ne Mukasera Arnold Anthony is the PD here at Alternative Digital. Yaja kumboza PD and program was director. So agenda kubanga ate atukolerako analysis ke ebintu nga bwali mukubira ba campaigns zitandise okutambula kati ba MPs bayingidde nabo olugendo bakyatambulira datekako ne ba councillors twagala tumanye ye ensonga ziraba atya naye nga ono ye mugenyi wange wa kaseera agenda kubanga ate afuluma mpolampola singa omugenyi wange olunaku lwaleero aba atuuse commissioner bamwine Fred tugenda kubanga tutunulira ensonga za poverty eradication programs olowooza zikoze tezikoze kuviira ddala ku entandikwa mu 1900 eyo paka olwaleero we tulina PDM olowooza zino programs government eteekawo zikuyambye wali oganuddwamuko mwemu kubanga zibaddewo nnyingi abamu kumwe mumanyi PDM yokka nenja kubategeeza twalina entandikwa twalina NADS tuyina simanya bonna bagagawale tuyina emyoga youth livelihood program ate waliwo simanya women empowerment grant byonna ebyo bibaddengawo kakati gwe mwezo programs zonna ogwanidwa mweriga bwoba tonnaba wetege wekube mutoki osobola okubanga wejja mwavu nkwaniriza Mr. Mukasera Anthony
nange nayanziza okugamba nzije nfuke sipakira kango tulinde omugenyi amacha malungi go wena wena asinzire gyosinzire okubanga otulaba ffe sawa budde wa kumacha ne tumanye uwo bwinzo okubanga bwakawongera abamu munnyuka abamu mugenda bugenzi abamu mwakana mugenda kwebaka so wena uoli ensi teknolojia yajifunza netubanga tambula ku PCM so tukwaniriza nawe nalaba video eno later on nawe tukwebaza okubanga boli yao otugoberera tukusaba onyige subscription button yeyo kumikutu jaffe jonna tuli alternative digital so obo tufuna alternative digital tubanga tuba tuwuliziganya so tukwebaza gwena wena ya subscribinga nawe tanaba tukusaba ekintu kimu kola bwotyo then wobo osobola onyiga n'akadde kali akakutegeeza bwe tuba tulinayo video oba tugenzo live tuba tusobola okubanga tuwuliziganya era nawe ina business bwotyo osobola kunoonyako ku mitimbagano yaffe gyenjawulo oba waliwo obugambo obutambula wansaawo kuliko email zaffe kwoteeka ne namba zaffe so emu kweza enamba esobola okubanga ekolera bulungi nnyo okubanga owuliziganya n'ekitongole kino business yonna tusobola okubanga oba oli awo tutambulira ku PCM amacha amalungi naye kankubuuzeeko
amacha gwewaawo malungi tetulina buzibu bwonna wanene Kampala tusuubira okubanga ate tufunayo akakuba obudde bugenze bukyuka si bwe bukedde naye embeera wona wekwatidde ffe tusaba nti tambula weetegeso tambula n'ekikopo kya caayi such that embeera tekulemesa kukola mirimu gyo munnange olunaku lwaleero njagadde nkusooseewoko onyonyole abalabi bange gwe embeera ogiraba otya naddala neya campaigns mu ngeri nga bwetambulamu
campaigns mukusooka bali batusuubiza nti zigenda kubeera campaigns zisinza okuba ez'ekimpowooze the quietest and nze ng'omuntu ayagala emirembe nali happy ngamba okay ekirungi it's a good step kyotegeeza democracy yakula because teri muntu ayagala obukyankalano nedda okay webanga gyebali naye kati nze ng'omunafu w'omutima mba njagala kutambulira mu mirembe n'abalala bangi nnyo abadde bagamba Museveni yatuleetera emirembe twebaka kutulo nabo ndowooza balinga gwe yes so but bw'otunuulira embeera bwetandise okubeera embeera yatandikira mu bitundu yali Arua yali Arua ndowooza gye basooka ne balumba hoteli mwali basuze tulowooza nti ebikomyawo batambula okudda embaara webagenze mu Western Uganda olaba nti embeera egenze ekyuka ng'ate tekyuka lwa bulungi so nekiraga nti oba oli awo either mu security munda mulimu abantu abakoye system nga baagala kunyiiza bantu babeeko kye bakola oba baagala kulaba bantu ki aba radical babakwate oba engeri bamaze ebbanga bagamba nti ankole ewagala President Museveni nga mulimu elements mu security ezagala kulaga bannayuganda nti si mwekka abakoowa regime eno naye naffe abeeno twakoowa mwabatusibye mu mbeera eno lwakuba nti mutusibako olwokuba tuva eno oba waliwo abagamba nti bulijjo omugamba nti Katana ne Rubongoya bantu ba muzeeyi naye batuse mu kitundu gy'obadde basuubira nti babamanyi babawadde resistance nti mu intelligence bayinza okubanga bazanya reverse psychology okulaga abadde babuusabuusa ba Rubongoya nti bano bali genuine nkuwa mutemya sigambye nti bwe kiri naye ngegendabamu ebintu byange nti you can't rule out omanyi mu intelligence na security waliwo akadokolabanga akali minor naye nga kwe bagenda okuzimbira so nze embeera yonna whether counter intelligence oba yaddala oba nkyamu nze siwagera violence era nze ndowooza nti President Museveni nga campaign zo bwe zitambudde because nabadde ndaba we baatuuka oba yakiruhura waliwo obutambi obulaga nga NRM oba n'abasirikale bakwata amayinja ku motoka za poliisi bazikwasa abantu abambadde yero balinde convoy ya Bobi Wine ne tiimu ye era bano ne bakola
statement yo
waliwo obutambi obulabikira ku social media whether butuufu obisi butuufu naye police tevangayo kubukkiriza oba kubugaana nga security ewa abantu amayinja naye nga bano abantu abamu ku bo bambadde engoye eziriko ekifaananyi kya President Kaguta Museveni
nga police ewa police amayinja stones
no amayinja agava mu motoka za police n'aba security nga bazikwasa abantu ba bulijjo era abantu bano balabibwako nga bakonfrontinga NUP era
yagamba nti motoka za police zitambulirwamu amayinja
sikyengamye waliwo obutambi obulabibwako social media simanyi oba butuufu oba si butuufu
AI takukwasa kalebule
ati kyengambe ntadde disclaimer kuba sikakasa because naba NUP asobola kwambala t-shirts because t-shirt teriko siteeka nti wa NRM so kwamba NUP wa NUP so kwamba NRM nedda era sigambye nti aba NRM ngambi abambadde engoye because so kukakasa nti abali bazambadde ba NRM okitege no katambika ennyini so akakasa nti katuufu okujjako nga abakugu mu security batugambye nti katuufu oba si katuufu nze ne mbanga akasa nti katuufu oba nga si katuufu naye nga mulimu ebintu bya security sobola gamba nti sobola kugamba ABCD so nze ndowooza nti wanga waliwo naye abantu abo police na vehicle statement ku kintu ekyo era njukira ne waliwo n'omukutu gwa waliwo munamawulire muto wange Muhaire yali agezaako ku interviewinga Lusoke ng'amubuuza nti bonga bano abaali aba NUP nga tebakwatangako ekyo nagira bwaki twakitegeeza nti bwe tuba nga tukwasa amateeka abantu bonna tubakwasi kyenkanyi nti owa NUP bw'azizza omusango oba bw'ateebereza okuba nti azizza omusango bw'akwatibwa bwe tuba tukwata owa FDC owa PFF owa NRM kuba ffenna tutambulira mu ssemateeka y'emu so ndowooza nti wano waliwo injustices ezimu ekirala ndaba akalulu kano ekisinga okunyiza oba okumpisa obubi kwe kuba nti political education bamujja mu masomero tebakyamusomesa naye abaana baffe abali mu masomero babajjayo ne babambaza engoye ez'ebibiina ebyobufuzi ebyenjawulo ne batwalira ku laalies nga naffe abazadde tebatusabye lukusa because bwe nsindika omwana ku ssomero bamusindisa essoma ebyobufuzi byanjawulo nnyo ne education
obuvunanyizibwa si bwa bannanyini masomero
ati kinza no nanyini masomero naleka tugeze bwebanga DEO ayisize ekiwandiiko gwe mwegala license yo okay tuli under UCC singa isa directive
nti buli mukutu gwa
mawulire ogwina license ya UCC
oyina okeeranga wali eri ku media center gwe tosobola kugamba nzijja oba kitegeera because directive evudde wani woyo akusupervisinga so nti baba amasomero niwe aba teyalyagadde kutwala baana
naye wayo directive evudde wa district education officer evudde wa chief administrative officer kati evudde wa RDC nabo bambi tobanenya nnyo so nze ndowooza nti amasomero gano I mean the government ebintu ebimu because abana bateekateekera
naye nakyo bw'okitunuulira it has a good side to it nti waliwo abaana abatasobola ababa tebajja na kufuna mukisa gusemberera president n'okumanya butya obukulembeze obwa president bwe buwulikika ne security byonnaawo so olaba nti omwana bamuwadde opportunity era ba president maaso ku maaso nga tamulabidde ku TV n'okumuwuliriza
mumbeja nsikisana naawe nakyo ngambye nti kibi nnyo nti bajja mu political education mu masomero because political education ebimu ku birungi ebyalimu bye bino okay fine tukkirize bagambe nti amasomero gali free okulondangamu abaana bagende kulale yonna ey'omu ku beesimye okuba president kibe universal nze kinaako buzibu kibe open nti olwagala okufuna abaana abakulembeze abanajja okuba motivated tumanye nti Kasiba atagenda kujja mukono
kyanjawulo amitize president Museveni n'amitize presidential candidate Kasiba banjawulo
these people are meeting presidential candidates not the president of the Republic of Uganda
oli asigala kya he step down
no kibwe kiti wano waba agenze mukasera kano
agenda n'ekitiibwa kye ky'obwa president
fancy nsiganye agana nakyo but era lejja abakubye ewenja Kalulu teri ku national issues okay teri ku presidency eri ku candidature obola bwenjawulo ndisinga abadde agenda ku addressinga for example PDM as a president ekyanjawulo naye wano agenda ku addressinga as a presidential candidate is going to solicit for votes for support vote for me nti wabeho policy ndio wagala abaana bafe okuyiga ebintu bino from senior 3 to senior 5 for example tulondenga mu abaana oba tugambe nti class senior 2 egende ewa Kasibande senior 3 egende wa Mafabe senior 4 egende wa Muntu senior 5 like chivenga kitegerekese nti se government policy okwagayisa abaana obukulembeze omwana bwavaayo naye awaliriza okwagala ne momentum eri egamba nange nozala ningidde ebyobufuzi nze kinaako buzibu because nange nali agadde because abaana baffe bali mu masomero nga beesimbawo ku prefectorial positions so ebanga motivator nti ebeera nsonga okumupushinga nti nange njagala kubeeranga president Kaguta Museveni njagala kubeeranga Bakyagulanyi Ssentamu njagala kubeeranga Mafaabi nti ave buto oba sinakindi alabe omujasi nga akuba saluti agambe njagala kubeera mujasi wa ggwanga alabe munamawulire nga akwata kamera ave agambe munamawulire yabadde akwata bulungi nti wabeerawo ebintu bingi byasa okulabirako ne motivating eri gyali ku ssomero n'avaayo ng'oba oli awo alina kyawulira kyali badde associatinga nakyo oba alabye ba scout we bakumba oba alabye abaziwanako engeri gye babayisaamu nti kimuwe obwagazi buli sikinaako buzibu but okera ku makya noba wa saidi emu kiba kitegeeza nti already essomero yolifudde partisan ng'ate tusuubira nti essomero likuŋŋaanya bonna okitegeera essomero likuŋŋaanya bonna awagira n'atawagira so nze wendabamu awo element eyo era nga nsaba nti oba oli awo yali badde eterezebwamu
okay ndowooza bekikwatako bawulidde tugende ku nsonga endala ey'okuba nti ba MPs babadde bangi nnyo be barolinze out olunaku batuteeredde bajje mu public okuba nga banoonya Kalulu enamba zabadde waggulu nnyo ate kati bwe tukkirira nti bazzeemu ne batematema ebitundu ebirala they have created more positions ekitegeeza nti expenditure yaffe egenda kubeera waggulu nnyo esasula abakozi naye bw'otunuulira ate ne date je tuyina our debt burden the public debt burden is also high kakati bwe otunulira embeera bwetyo what should we be doing as Ugandans
so kwa byonna nga tunatuka kitune okukola bw'otunulira ba candidates bomulundi guno ba independents banji compared to the political parties what does this speak? The people are losing trust in political parties. One nti omuntu abamu bali mu political parties kufuna as a vehicle kufuna positions bamu makadi tasobola kuyimira ku principles za kibiina ekyo because ekyamutwalamu si principles of ideology ekyamutwalamu. He was looking for a meal, a card to get a meal. We call them meal card politicians. Nti yali afuna akamiro kaadi ako afune position afune omulimu. Nti bw'otunuulira abantu betusinga betulina obungi ennyo tebali ku issues era batono nnyo abali mukulembeze era mweyakakasa nti tetulina bakulembeze bakere ku macha bagambe nti omusala gw'aba MP bagusaze ojja kulaba abantu nga tebakyafuna mayumba gaabwe tebakyasingayo bibanja like ng'agamba tekyali business because naina munafuzi wano off camera n'agamba the most paying job now is politics.
Nonya akafo wonna wewekwata ndowooza nange
wali badde weebuuza lwaki owa LC1
next elections nange njafunayo
lwaki owa LC1 atafuna musaala
lwaki akirwanira bafuna omutwalo waliwo simanyi ababloka b'ettaka simanyi tunze ettaka simanyi percent like nti office yebeera busy
gwe omulaba nga talina musaala
banjagala bbaluwa simanyi ndaga muntu manya passport
agamba 5 ezo zimuyisaawo. But that aside,
katono nnyo nga tonagenda ku kyoddako ogamba kusinziira kugamba nti ebibiina birese ba independent, so does that mean nti Uganda teyali ready for multi-party dispensation? Twalisigadde walimu omugendo.
Nze ndowooza nti sijagamba nti teyali ready but twabulamu nsomesebwa. Tulina history wa UPC abantu abasinga nti twakwata obukyayi twalina ku UPC n'ebiseera paka mu 80s ne tubukomyawo up to today. So tibutunuulira omuntu akwata obukyayi buli n'atunuulira nti bwembe wa NRM nga mumbejja wa FDC we are brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Nti ebituluma ebitunyiga byebimu ekyenjawulo is ideological who implements what and how. Ani ayina ideology eso okukimplementinga okukituusa mu butuufu bwakyo. So kati ne tukwata obukyayi buli ne tubutuuzaamu nti olwaliro mumbejja oli mwanyinaze oli mukwano gwange naye bw'onaatuuka changinga nova mu kibiina katugeze tubadde ba NRM n'ogenda mu FDC oba mu DP nze bannange mu NRM bagenda kuŋŋamba lwaki okwagana ne mumbejja eyagenze mu NUP ne berabira nti nga tetunafuuka bino betuli wano mu bibiina tulina gye tuva tulina ebitugatta ebyenjawulo so nti tubulamu sensitization eyo era nze ndowooza nti gwe mulimu ogwali badde omukulu ogwa Electoral Commission okusomesa abantu obuvunaanyizibwa obwa political parties. Nze sina buzibu n'omuntu kuona kibiina kino kyayagala owa NRM owa FDC owa NUP sukali tugula bbeeyi etya tabasobola kugamba nti gwe owakuba wa NRM sukali mutu wa 200 kati wa NUP wa 300 nedda naye ekikulu kiri nti yo NRM gyempagira enaasobola okuntuusaako obuweereza banga bwembusuubira NUP gyenjagala erina bweba security wise nasobola okufuna security nga bwenjeetaaga. Okay, bwembanga ngamba nti NRM elemereddwa wano yo DP yange manifesto yayo ekyogerako ki bwengamba nti okay byenjigiriza bifudde NRM njenenya nnyo mbi nnyo era bagende Museveni omubi nnyo nze ye PFF gyempagira egamba kubyenjigiriza nti bwemala kukimanya ekyo nengamba okay mbadde wa NRM guno kino ekisanja naye bwe manifesto tulina wano tensobozesa kuwagira NRM kangende mu People's National Peasant Party because yeina ebyogera nange teshingana mwaka ogukisanja kijja kunulira nga ate peasant gyendimu manifesto gyene ya kibogwe nengamba omululi guno Peasant Party nimbye kangende mu need
kokusikwe kufuuka political nomad
and semateeka nzikiriza to associate nekyenzikirizamu.
Well, thank you so much Arnold. Nga bwe mbagambye nti nno Arnold yantuuliddemu butuulizi ng'omugenyi wange tannantukako, but as of now omugenyi yatuuse dda, so ngenda kuba nga mpumulamuko katono nnyo bwe tukomawo, ngenda kuba ntudde bulungi nnyo ne Commissioner Fred Bamwine nga twogera nsonga za poverty eradication programs and how it has benefited Ugandans. Bannayuganda bakifunyeemu oba nedda oba it has benefited a group of Ugandans bokka bokka. A very good morning, tukomawo.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At